Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new episode of The Black Cat Show. I took a day off yesterday, although there was quite a lot to talk about because I really wanted to sit and just enjoy Dragon Quest XI. I am really enjoying Dragon Quest XI as I'm sure you can tell by browsing my website, blackcatbooks.org. I've blogged about it twice, I believe. And I seriously started drafting a new article earlier today about Michelle, the mystical mermaid. And please look forward to that. Needless to say, I'm really enjoying Dragon Quest XI. If you haven't already, please check it out. You can find information on Dragon Quest XI and other great Dragon Quest games on my website. And please check out my books. And there is just so much to talk about. I was encouraged to take a break last time I streamed. And I kind of was worn out. I kind of had some things to figure out. Like I'm redoing my driveway at the moment, and that's kind of exhausting. It's one of the reasons I've been streaming so late in the past couple of days. It is making progress. It is looking very nice. It is a major improvement. So I'm glad to see that. But lots of great milestones for me today. I mean, not really milestones. I was working on Rabbit Hole last night, and I am nearing 70,000 words. Like, I legit think if I sat down tonight and worked on it for 5 hours, I could probably get to 70,000 and then beyond, and then we're in the end game now, man, or approaching the end game. It's legit almost done. I am so excited. I am so enthusiastic about Rabbit Hole, about about what I did with it, about the story, about its potential going forward. I am very excited about this project, and I cannot wait to share more with you. I can't wait to start talking more in depth about it, because I think I have been kind of vague about what Rabbit Hole is supposed to be about, and a big part of that was because we got to keep it a mystery, but also I just didn't want to give it all away. I didn't want to give up all my ideas. I didn't want to give up what happens in Rabbit Hole? Who are the bad guys? Who's the good guys? It's kind of a mystery, isn't it? Kind of a mystery. You're gonna have to wait and see and find out. But it is a martial arts story, very similar to Shenmue, actually. Shenmue was a direct influence. Of course, I'm a big fan of martial arts movies and fiction in general, so it was influenced by that kind of media, essentially. Shenmue, specifically, the idea of Shenmue, of this guy living his daily life. A martial artist living his daily life, basically. They're quite different structurally and things like that. Of course, they're not the same thing over again. That would be ridiculous. You, Suzuki, I'm going to finish Shenmue for you. No, it's me doing my own thing on this very neat idea that sadly had a lot of missed potential with Shenmue. You'll find that I do that a lot with my work, is that I take things I don't really like and really adapt them into something really weird and out there. Again, I've talked about, Eye the Dragon was influenced by Dragon Quest IV. I've talked about this before. Cruel and Beautiful was influenced by Evangelion. So Grimm what was Grimm influenced by? I guess Tangled, which is really weird to say, because I was kind of thinking of Disney movies as a whole when I was conceptualizing Grimm. But anyway, I'm really excited to get through with Rabbit Hole and to move on to my next project. Probably Grimm. I really think I'm about 5,000 words into Grimm or something like that. I haven't worked on it in a while, but I'm very excited about the potential for that project. I really want to return to it and really make it shine, but Rabbit Hole's almost done. I got to get through that first. So yeah. The Black Cat Show, where we talk about my books for 15 minutes. So anyway, I specifically wanted to talk about the fake news. And believe me, the instant I saw this headline, the instant I saw this narrative unfolding by these corrupt fucks in the mainstream media, I knew this was fake news. And it seems that Trump has pretty much said as much, but of course the mainstream media, in a desperate attempt to get the public to turn away from our Lord and Savior, President Trump, they're going around bringing in all these people, throwing them on stage, and having them like decry the president. How dare you say something you didn't actually say? How dare you call the troops losers? Like it's really sad, pathetic, and very, very transparent. It's becoming really weird to see like how easy it is to see through a lot of these people. Like if you actually, even just passing by, like seeing them like come up with buzzwords like, oh, if you don't want the COVID vaccine, you're anti-science. Like it's just what you're labeling people who don't do something they're supposed to do like anti-science. It's dumb. Like nothing you do is scientific. There has been nothing about like the masks or the vaccine that has been like a scientific process. So you can't keep like deriding people for essentially condemning certain actions. Like coming out against immigrants, for example. Like, of course they're taking jobs. Of course they're like lowering wages. That's why they're here. You know what I mean? That's why they're being brought in to lower our standard of living. It's not acceptable for people to accept that. Like that's not right. Like just keep them out of their country. Just keep them out of our country and let them be happy somewhere else. Like, don't come in here. So, again, the fake news, right? We might as well see if... we might as well see what the... I want to see the original report. Like, this has like, awful Emily Rogers style, like, reporting here, where it has, like, denies report by The Atlantic. Like, okay. Trump denies report by The Atlantic he made disparaging remarks about fallen World War I troops and John McCain in 2018. According to an article published by The Atlantic on Thursday, President Trump referred to fallen Marines who fought in World War I as losers and suckers while deciding not to visit the Aisne-Marne American Cemetery near Paris during a visit to France in 2018. The article also says the president made similar comments about veteran and former Arizona Senator John McCain after he died in 2018. A White House representative called the article offensive and patently false, saying the president holds the military in the highest regard. President Trump responded saying, "I never called John a loser and swear on whatever or whoever. I was asked to swear on that I never called our great fallen soldiers anything other than heroes." So again, like the left is kind of eating this stuff up. They're very, very pro-troops now that it's a way to get back at President Trump for this story that I'm sure is completely real. Let's click on this. Oh, am I gonna have to disable our friend Adblock? Wait. Okay. The president has repeatedly disparaged the intelligence of service members and asked that wounded veterans be kept out of military parades. Multiple sources tell The Atlantic. Very, very Emily Rogers this. Very, very fake news. When President Donald Trump canceled a visit to the Aisne-Marne American Cemetery near Paris in 2018, he blamed rain for the last-minute decision, saying that the helicopter couldn't fly. Didn't, like, Kobe Bryant die because he flew a helicopter when he wasn't supposed to? Like, I would be shocked if that wasn't what really happened. And that the Secret Service wouldn't drive him there. Neither claim was true. Trump rejected the idea of the visit because he feared his hair would become disheveled in the rain, and because he did not believe it important to honor American war dead, according to 4 people with first-hand knowledge of the discussion that day. In a conversation with senior staff members on the morning of the scheduled visit, Trump said, "Why should I go to that cemetery? It's filled with losers." Was the press there? Was the fake news there? Were they waiting to ambush him? Like, that's kind of... I mean, that might not mean the fucking troops, right? Like, come the fuck on. Come on. Typical, like, clickbait bullshit. And, of course, like, on TV right now, you have, like, Pete Buttigieg coming out here and, like, oh, man, the troops, man. Trump doesn't respect the troops. I respect the troops. You should have elected me to be president. Like, no, fuck you. Fucking faggot. Why should I go to that cemetery? It's filled with losers. In a separate conversation on the same strip, Trump referred to the more than 1,800 Marines who lost their lives at Belleau Wood as suckers for getting killed. What? Like, I'm gonna need a video or like a complete transcript of that conversation or something, because that's kind of outlandish, man. Not gonna lie, that's kind of hard to believe. This really needs to be said about like the left's view of President Donald Trump. Like, they really do treat him like a cartoon villain. They really do treat him like he's the Shredder voiced by Uncle Phil. Like, it's a joke. Like, it's just it's ridiculous the lengths they go to, like, all the time, to try and discredit President Trump in the eyes of his base, right? To try and come up with these ridiculous narratives, fake news, and try to make these outlandish claims about it. It's just, really? Fucking really? Like, does anybody actually believe this? Like, other than liberals who will believe anything they're supposed to. Like, I can't imagine anybody is stupid enough to buy into this shit. Let's see, Trump. Like, here's the thing. Like, every time I go on Twitter, every time I look at these things, let's see. Military veteran throws his Trump yard sign in the trash. Oh, I'm sure. Who is this guy? Palmer? A political analysis ahead of the curve. I'm sure you are, Palmer. I'm sure you are. Today, this week from Trump. So, of course, like, there have already been a couple of signs about, like, this being very, very staged and very, very pre-planned. Like, this article came out, and then immediately these personalities started coming out, like, really pushing for it. Like, there was, like, this weird commercial with all these veterans in it. Like, it feels very scripted, you know what I mean? It feels very fake, and very gay. Okay. Today, this week from Trump, 1.4 million jobs, unemployment rate tumbles to 8.4%. CDC says 2 COVID-19 vaccines around the corner. Kosovo recognizes Israel. Serbia moves embassy to Jerusalem. Trump approval at 52%. So, of course, media launches a big lie against Trump. Trump just caved. I doubt that. Trump has a sentimental attachment to housing discrimination. It's how he began his real estate career. Wait. Are people already, like, not talking about the whole... Let's see. If Trump doesn't respect our troops, he shouldn't be leading them. Yeah, sure. I'm sure he totally said that. Yeah, this is clearly just like a blatant This is a blatant attempt at, like, getting the military to, like, side against Donald Trump. Like, it's really pathetic and really transparent, and I hope the troops don't fall for that, because Fox News confirms shocking story on Trump's contempt for American troops after the president argued it was fake. Well, nobody takes Fox News. Gotta love how these people will condemn Fox News for being terrible, and then turn around and, like, oh, well, they hate Trump, so they're completely reliable. Biden might win by double freaking digits if the story sticks. No way. It has no momentum. You know what I mean? Like, you can kind of see there's no outrage. There's no like loss of support for Trump. There's no, like, massive surge of votes for Biden. Like it's just fake news getting increasingly desperate. Like, literally throwing everything at the wall, trying to get it to stick. Like, there. Of course, like, I talked about this in the midterm elections, right? Well, I think I did. I noticed this among my my age demographic, right? Where white women started basically doing the BLM thing, but for like women. Like, oh man, Trump hates women, man. If you vote for Trump, you're voting against your own rights, your own privileges. Like, how could you might lose the right to kill your babies? Like they'll come out. Like, whenever the media comes out with these stories, like, their NPC puppets will sort of dance along. Like, it happens every time. Like, this is... Other than a bunch of these... other than, like, the most hardcore people in this demographic, the most obsessed anti-Trump people, I don't think anybody really cares. Like, the only value that the left is getting out of this story is that they think it's going to help take down Trump, and it's really, really not. It already feels like people have sort of like just memory hold it. Like, it's just, it's dumb, it's stupid. Like, and again, I think the media is having a really hard time like keeping track of all their narratives. I noticed this with the whole COVID thing and the whole Black Lives Matter thing. Like, they were simultaneously telling people like not to go go out and do like things, go out and do certain things, like go out to church or have fun or do anything, be around friends, and then like, oh, it's perfectly acceptable to go out and riot and destroy entire cities. Again, it's very, very transparent. They really can't keep control of all of their different narratives. That's kind of the trend I've been seeing in the age of the internet, where they have to jump from like narrative to narrative like on the flash, and it's not sustainable. Like, it just isn't. Like, they're trying to do that thing in 1984, right, where they Eurasia is not our enemy. East Asia is. Eurasia has been our ally this entire time, and like people just tear up the signs and start supporting for Eurasia. Like, they're trying to do that. They're desperately trying to do that, but it's not really working. You know what I mean? Like, you have like the heavily indoctrinated, but like the actual successful people of society, like independent business owners, independent people, like people like who can thrive and excel on their own, right? They're not really buying into this. You know what I mean? Like, they're not supporting it. And when you come right down to it, like, all the incompetent people want, all the socialists, what all the criminals want, like, they just want free stuff for themselves. They're very self-centered. They don't have the mindset to really build a thriving, successful society. Like, they see something they want, and they're just like, I want that, and they don't really think in terms of like, okay, how do I get it? Like, how do I become powerful, successful? How do I get money? How do I earn respect in my community? How do I achieve something? Like, no, like they just go out and demand, free money, free healthcare, just free all the time, right? And they're not really doing anything to improve their own situations. I've noticed this about communists, right? Like, because I have been around several. There are a lot in my area. I have been all around several, right? But they're all working dead end jobs. They have been for like their entire lives. They'll jump from like dead end job to dead end job, right? They'll jump, but they can't ever rise. They can't ever do anything more. They can't really improve. They're kind of entirely reliant on like the generosity of society to sort of sustain them. You can sort of see that here with like the rent strike, where like kids are like refusing to pay rent. Well, why? Do you not have money saved up? Like, where's the money going? If you don't have money to pay rent, why are you living on your own? Like, just cut costs. Like, be more responsible with your money. Like, what's the big deal? And again, a lot of problems in American society, they feel very, very artificial. They feel very, very fake. You know what I mean? Like, That's the thing I noticed when it came to school. Like I was told like incessantly that like you have to go to school, you have to do well in public education, and then go to college, and then get a degree, and then you'll make money and survive. Otherwise, you'll be working at McDonald's. It didn't happen. What they could have done is teach me real practical skills, right, and help me find something that I wanted to do. But instead, they just sort of like demanded, like insisted that like I go down this very specific route that, as it turns out, was not right for me, and I imagine it was not right for anyone. Women especially, I think, are getting fucked over by the college experience. You shouldn't think of college as like the best years of your life. That's just dumb. Like that's no different than like thinking high school is the best years of your life. Like no, you should be successful. You should be influential. You should have a family to take care of. Like you should have your own responsibilities. Like there's nothing wrong with being a responsible adult in America. And we constantly see these people sort of reject that. You know what I mean? They sort of have this mindset like, oh, I'm gonna watch kids cartoons forever. I'm gonna LARP. I'm gonna pretend that like I'm a revolutionary. The government should just give me everything I want. I shouldn't have to do anything. The capitalist is keeping me down. Like, where was I getting with this? I keep getting off track. I think my point is that like there's not really the protests are a joke. You know what I mean? Like the problems of American society are a joke. Like it's weird seeing that like politicians come out and like talk shit about like people are not able to pay their bills at $25,000 a year. College graduates are not able to pay their pay their bills at $25,000 a year. You know, which is just ridiculous to me, right? Why aren't you getting better jobs? Like, why? Again, because there are better jobs out there everywhere. It's and I do think more and more companies are starting to move away from the whole like you need a degree thing, because so many of these fucks are completely useless, right? They're completely worthless individuals, and again, the more and more that companies say no, right, to successful, driven people who don't go to college, the more we'll start to make our own options, right? Like, again, I had to deal with like the publishing industry. I had to make my own website, my own platform, start my own channel, like basically sidestep all this gatekeeping that's going on in the publishing industry, right? There was no reason I shouldn't have had a reasonable method of breaking into the industry from where I was 5 years ago. But as it stands now, I kept being told no, and I finally just did my own thing and am already having considerable success, right? They tried to gatekeep so much that they kept successful, driven people out, and they let incompetent, worthless people in who are devaluing the product they're providing in the first place. Like you're seeing this in entertainment, you're seeing this in pharmaceuticals. I imagine you're seeing this in the publishing industry on YouTube. Like people are just gravitating towards other platforms because the mainstream ones don't offer the products they need. Mainstream media is basically just propaganda. It's basically just we need to get rid of Trump. 24 hours a day, right? That's their entire stories. That's their entire thing for 24 hours straight. We need to get rid of Trump, and they expect people, his supporters especially, but even neutrals, even people who don't necessarily like Trump, they really expect people to just swallow it all. Like you're just supposed to buy it. You're just supposed to believe it, and they're alienating everyone. Like nobody can take this seriously. Like I do think it's only a matter of time until like people start realizing that like, wait a minute. Again, it's kind of common knowledge already. like how ridiculous the climate change predictions are. Like seriously, they've been around since the 20s. All they do is just push back. Like they come up with new studies and like just push back the end of the world date by 5 years. That's all they do, right? And of course, you have like crazy people like AOC who come out and like say, "Oh, the world is going to end in 12 years." It isn't actually, right? Obviously, but that just goes to show you the mainstream media, the Democratic Party, these people, they've essentially sort of created this very secular like doomsday cult, right? Where if you don't do what we say, the world is going to end because of science, because we didn't listen to the scientists, man. Because we didn't get rid of Trump, because we didn't pass the Green New Deal, like the world is gonna end, and it's really, really dumb and just really, really stupid. It's just, okay. Let's see. I guess we could see what old Bernie said. I hate how I want to look at a specific tweet and then it just disappears. Okay. I see more Trump signs than Biden signs in California. Not surprised. I legit think Trump is going to win all 50 states. Like, unless some of these states cheat, which I suppose is very possible, I think Trump is going to like dominate this election. It's going to be a landslide. Like most countries are very, very happy with most people are very, very happy with Donald Trump. The only people who are not are the establishment, right? People who wanted to push their own ridiculous political agenda onto Bernie Sanders leaps into wood chipper to reduce carbon footprint. Oof. Bernie Sanders fears President Trump will refuse to leave office. I wanted his Twitter account. Like, I wanted that tweet he made about Donald Trump. All right. Fuck this guy, by the way. Today we have come together in a united front and say to the president, sorry, too many people fought and died to preserve this democracy. You're not going to destroy it. the party that's like trying to cheat this election, like who are trying like everything in their power to like ruin everything for everyone. Oh, we're not going to let you destroy our democracy. Like you've basically already tried to strip away a bunch of essential rights, right? You already have in a bunch of cases. Like you're always talking about getting rid of guns and things like that, limiting free speech, like and those policies have been enacted in some ways, right? Like of course YouTubers are always complaining about like rampant demonetization for being too pro-Trump, right? Things like that, right? Like in some ways, like the government just big tech just sort of steps in where the government can't, and they sort of just leech off each other. It's a weird kind of like symbiotic, terrible relationship. But okay. But yeah, I'm sick of these people like pretending to take the moral high ground for everything. Like, oh man, don't you care about women? Don't you care about minorities? Don't you care about like the children? Like they're always they're doing the same thing that I think they accused the conservatives of like the 90s and 80s of doing, like when it came to like games like D&D and things like that. Like only I think it's a lot more annoying, honestly. Like I'm honestly convinced that like that person didn't exist, you know what I mean? And they were just projecting. Like it's weird to see this like weird sort of thing. Okay. We must do everything we can to ensure Joe Biden wins by the largest possible margin. We must also consider what happens if Trump loses, but refuses to abide by the results and does everything he can to hold on to power. So dictator Trump, oh no, he thinks he's gonna become Hitler. First, with the pandemic and a massive increase in mail-in voting, state legislators must take action to allow votes to be counted. So they'll go and protest, but they won't. But they won't show up in person to vote. Like, how fucking stupid is that? Like, that's a good example of, like, the conflict of narratives, right? They want the mail-in voting so they can fake the votes. State legislators must take action to allow votes to be counted before Election Day. We must avoid a situation where battleground states are counting millions of votes for days and weeks after Election Day. What does that have to do with stopping Donald Trump and his evil racist ways? Like, Second, the news media needs to prepare the American people. that there is no longer a single election day and that we may not know the results on November 3rd. Absent a national conversation about that reality, conspiracy theories and disinformation will likely thrive. So he's pushing for the mainstream media to censor the net, censor alternative news channels like my own, like maybe the Rekieta Show, other maybe more conservative outlets, Nick Fuentes maybe. The mainstream media will look out for you. The mainstream media will protect you from the misinformation about the riots and the protests that happened during Donald Trump's re-election. So, this is how they're trying to normalize mass censorship. Basically, this is actually a lot more interesting tweet than I thought it would be. A tweet that I thought it would be. Third, social media companies must finally get their act together and stop people from using their tools to threaten and harass election officials. Can't stop me. Feel the bird. What a fucking cuck. What a fucking cuck. What a fucking faggot. Oh no, don't be mean to me on social media. That's harassment. That's bullying. I'm just an innocent communist presidential candidate that wants to ruin all of America. That wants to destroy Donald Trump. Fourth, we need congressional hearings with local officials to learn how they plan to handle the election day process and the days that follow. Every agency of government, federal, state, and local, must do everything possible to ensure that we have a free and fair election. So I think what he means by that is we need the Democrats to control every level of government so we can rig the election in our favor. Free and fair just means that we win. That's just their mindset. Let us work hard to deliver Joe Biden at an overwhelming victory on election night, but we must also stay vigilant and do everything possible to prevent Trump from staying in power if he loses. Nothing less than our democracy is at stake. Don't, damn. Don't a lot of people, want Antifa to be arrested? Don't a lot of people want the riots to stop? Why are you not actively, acting on that desire? Okay. I will not vote for a man who has rape allegations. I will not vote for a man who feels Breonna Taylor should be charged. Wasn't she aiding and abetting a criminal? I will not vote for a man who wrote the crime bill that disproportionately and intentionally harms the black community. Why? Because they're actively going after criminals. They're not telling you that you can't arrest these black people because they may have committed a crime, but they're black, so you have to let them go. Oh no, we can't have that. Oh no, that's fine. Them phone bank for progressives in Congress, so if he does win, he will have to be more progressive, and if he loses, Trump will be limited more effectively. If anything, I think the left is losing more and more power every day. I really do think they're basically being dismantled, very, very slowly. But you can kind of see this is why the mainstream media is so desperate. They're so over anxious to get Trump out of office because they know it's coming. It's coming. He's cracking down on them, dismantling them piece by piece. Again, getting rid of the immigrants in and of itself is a big deal, right? Because now that the left just can't promise them free shit. But again, there's a lot of things I think the public doesn't necessarily know about what Trump is doing. Of course, we have more than just domestic problems. Of course, we got to deal with China. We got to deal with all these things, and Trump is of course dealing with that as well. Honestly, I'm mostly concerned about domestic issues because I do think that's the problem primarily. We have too many rats in office. They all need to be dealt with, and I'm hoping these riots are kind of exposing who these rats are and how they behave. Ted Wheeler, right, for example, has become a meme because of how badly he's handled the Portland protests. I think that's going to be... we're going to see more and more people like this, right? As these people get more and more extreme and start making more and more ridiculous... take more and more ridiculous actions against against society, against America, against our rights and things like that. I think more and more people will come out and say yeah, we don't want this shit. No, fuck you, get out of office. We'll vote someone else in. Again, Like, they've been building to this for years, right? They've been building for this since the '60s, right? They've been trying to turn America into a communistic paradise, and they just can't do it. Like, there's just not enough enthusiasm. Like, they had to brainwash an entire generation to even consider it, and that was on this false promise of oh, you won't have to work, you'll be able to everyone will be equal, man. This will be an end to racism. All your problems, it's all because someone has more money than you, more privilege than you. Communism can fix that, man. Just it doesn't work. It's really, really dumb. Let's see. If Trump gets back in again, do you really think you'll have the opportunity to see those things in your lifetime? It's very difficult to remove a dictatorship once it's taken root. Honestly, oof. Oh, no. Oh, no, that's right. The Nancy Pelosi thing. I completely forgot. This is, again, a really good example of the double standards of our elite class. So Nancy Pelosi, the highest ranking, piece of shit in office right now. She basically broke quarantine rules and went out with without a mask or whatever. Let me see. Speaker Nancy Pelosi, for male politicians, hair is fraught. For female politicians, it's a minefield. As House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is not the first to discover, the pandemic brings its own double bind, and with that, double standards. Women in the public eye have to look as good as ever in a moment when it's harder than ever to pull that off. Indeed, the surprise about Pelosi and what Republicans would like you to think of as Hairgate, did she high-handedly violate the rules that apply to others in search of a decent blowout? This is an example of what I'm talking about. So we have a Democrat politician, right? A Democrat from California who blatantly broke quarantine rules and is trying to downplay the situation. And everyone's coming out, all the Democrats are coming out and saying, oh, it's not a big deal. This is kind of a bigger deal than the whole Trump thing. For one thing, we actually have evidence. We actually have an example. It's a modern. It's not some bullshit where oh, Trump said or did something 2 years ago. No, it's something she actually did that's provable, that we have confirmation of, and they're still trying to downplay it. They really don't want to get rid of Nancy because without Nancy, they kind of lose a lot of influence. I don't know. They really need Nancy to keep her credibility, and I think Nancy Pelosi has kind of stuck her neck out for one too many times for people not to fucking hate her guts. I'm still becoming new to being a political commentator, so again, women don't belong in politics anyway. But of course she sucks. Of course she sucks. Of course she deserves the blowback from this Hairgate, as they're calling it. Of course she did this. Of course she went out, violated quarantine rules because the rules don't apply to me. I'm a Democrat. I'm the Speaker of the House. I'm Nancy Pelosi. I don't need to follow the rules, and it kind of blew up in her face. And people aren't. Looks matter in politics. That includes good hair. The last bald, or admittedly bald, president was Dwight D. Eisenhower. Isn't Trump balding? A nice head of hair says nothing about your capacity to lead the country, but it does help to get you there. See John F. Kennedy, Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton. Joe Biden was losing his hair until suddenly he wasn't. Let's see. What the fuck does this have to do with anything? This is pure propaganda. What the fuck? That is the thing I've been noticing with the Washington Post. Opinions. Opinion just means this is propaganda. We can say whatever the fuck we want. If we label it as opinion, we can just use our platform to come out and damage control for shit that is clearly unacceptable. You know what I mean? If we just label it an opinion, we can just say whatever the fuck we want. It doesn't have to be true. So we'll just put our opinion out there that Nancy Pelosi did nothing wrong and leave it at that. It's just, complete joke. Again, a really good example of how you can't take the media seriously. You can't take the Democrats seriously. We're supposed to be so scared of the pandemic, and yet like basically all the elites are going around without masks. You know why? Because they're not scared of the virus. You know why? Because it's not that big of a deal. Like they know this. They don't want to admit it until the election is over. They're already talking about vaccines, but that just means that like, oh, the virus will just go away. Like, the vaccine has been administered to everyone in the country by November 3rd, so we're clean, we're good. We don't have to worry about the pandemic anymore. They're going to try and like use the pandemic to document like your medical history or whatever, like make it public or whatever. Like, I think they were talking about like tracking devices. They're trying to make that idea mainstream, trying to make it popular that like we need to chip you and follow your every movement to make sure that you're getting your shots. Not really necessary. Certainly not necessary, and you shouldn't allow them to do that for sure. And honestly, I think if they keep going with that angle, like you need vaccines, I think more and more people are like going to turn against them. Because I was not anti-vaccine until like COVID happened, right? Because I was, of course they fucking work, right? But like you don't know what they're injecting in you, right? Like they can just tell you something is a vaccine and then just do it. You know what I mean? Like you can't necessarily trust these corrupt processes, and like it's never a bad thing to ask questions, you know what I mean? Especially when it's like something like this where they somehow managed to pump out a vaccine supposedly in just less than 2 years. Like it takes like 2 years to go through. It's supposed to take like 2 years to go through the trials and stuff like that to design the vaccine and make sure it's safe and things like that. And now they're just pumping it out like fucking really, and they're trying to call people like anti-science who question how they managed to pump out a vaccine so fast. Like, no, fuck you. I'm asking questions because I know a little bit about what a vaccine is supposed to be. Of course, like again. Don't let them just tell you that like, oh, it's science, like wave their hands like, oh, it's science. Like that is the modern day equivalent of saying that like, oh, it's magic. Like, God did this. Like, no, like it's the same thing. Like they're trying to do something that will impact you negatively in the long run, right? They're trying to normalize bad practices and trying to strip you of your right to choose these things, right? And again, like I think that's kind of why they're emphasizing so much that like, oh, COVID is only going to get old people. Like they're trying to scare like older people into accepting it and like voting for it and things like that. Again, like there's I don't know enough about vaccines. Like we need like a doctor, like a vaccine epidemiology expert, right? Nick Rekieta to come on and like start talking about this shit. Like again, I think most doctors are kind of committed to dealing with the whole COVID thing. Like again, like there was that group like who claimed to have figured out a way to use a common drug to cure it. So we'll have to see if that pans out. I think it probably has, considering like Trump himself supports it, and the media tried cracking down on it, but I don't know. Like people have been a lot less scared of COVID after that news broke. So I think in the long run, like COVID isn't really going to be a thing. Definitely not the way they said they are. Like I said, it's going to be over by the end of the year. It's kind of over already now. You know what I mean? Like I did stuff with my family this weekend. I'm going to be doing stuff with my family this weekend. Like I know like Rekieta went on vacation a while back. People are going all over the country. Things like nobody is worried about the virus. Not really. You know what I mean? Like it's basically over. The government just hasn't caught up with it yet. They won't be able to keep this going until next year. Like they just won't. I don't think there'll be any need to, because like the entire purpose of this was to ruin Trump's economy for the re-election, and they just can't keep people scared enough. Like they just can't. Like they can't force people to wear masks. Like I mean they're trying, but like how can you force someone to like wear a mask in a restaurant, take it off to eat, and then just leave, and then like not think that was kind of ridiculous. Like it's supposedly like a super contagious virus, but no. All right. All right. So so the left is just using dead memes now. What the fuck? What the fuck? Okay, so should I talk about the Nintendo Direct? Because I'm kind of burned out on like the political talk today. I guess I could do a reaction to it. It's not that long. I could just talk about Mario. I haven't talked a lot about it, so IGN. Why would I watch it on IGN? I love how like nobody is watching. 5.5 million views on Nintendo and 135 on IGN. IGN is dead, dude. Like IGN just can't compete with the Nintendo Direct model. Like game journalists are basically over. Like game companies are just delivering game footage directly to you, and all game journalists can do is just re-upload the footage. Like they're on the same level as like fucking Game Explain. You know what I mean? And people would rather just go straight to Nintendo. And
only title.
Number 5 on trending. Did I not like this? Okay. Yeah, it's about 16 minutes long. I'd probably go through this and talk about everything they announced real quickly. Number 5 on trending. So yeah, not even that big of a direct, and they still somehow managed to kill it. Like basically just.
Hello everyone. This year marks the 35th anniversary of the original release of the Super Mario Bros. Game. And today, we will be announcing
the legendary, the iconic, which I played through on stream, by the way. It still holds up.
Spring 2021. Okay, here we go. Here's a classic way to play Super Mario Bros. The original Super Mario Bros., which made its debut on NES in 1985, can now be played on this special Game & Watch system.
Damn, I love it. I love it. I would really like to have one, but unfortunately, I don't know. I don't think I have anywhere to put it. Like, it's not that big, but I don't know. I don't think I'm really. I'm not really into like owning retro consoles with like one game in them. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of neat, but maybe I would give it for a gift or something.
As well as an updated version of the title Game & Watch.
I mean, it's neat for collectors, but I'm not really a collector. I like playing the games, you know what I mean?
Game & Watch Super Mario Bros. Will launch November 13th.
Limited production.
The original Nintendo.
Yeah, people are like making a big deal about like the limited production aspect of this. But did they not remember the year of Luigi? Like they had like lots of limited products then. Like did I not remember like Nintendo's 25th Mario's 25th anniversary, where they did the whole Mario All-Stars re-release on Wii? Like that was a limited release. So people don't remember that, but it's true. People are making a big deal about this, but. Yeah, people are calling this one of the best Mario games ever, and I have to say, like, not a fan of this one. I really dislike this one. Supposedly it has online play this time. If that's true, like, this is I might check it out for the expansion as well, but I don't know, man. Like, I'm not very fond of this game. Like, I like 3D Land better, I like Odyssey better, like... Honestly, it's probably my least favorite 3D Mario game ever. And it's kind of strange, because considering I'm such a big Wii U fan, right? But I didn't like this anywhere near as much as I liked a lot of the other games. So, like, I'm wondering if, like, the expansion is going to redeem this for me. Like, that's kind of they seem to be really hyping it up. So, the fact that they took so long for this port makes me think that they're really, really adding to this one. Really doing stuff with it. And honestly, like, with me buying all these re-releases, I might as well go ahead and get Captain Toad, honestly. Like, Captain Toad I didn't buy on Switch. But it's been so long since I played it on Wii U, and they added more stuff in it. Like, I might as well. I'm a big fan of Captain Toad. Where is our new Captain Toad? It's been, like, 6 years. Maybe it'll be in this game. I don't know. Maybe they'll package it in with this game. Yeah, 2013 to 21. So it took them, like... Okay, I have a thing to say about, like, these ports, right? So many people are, like, talking all this shit, like, oh, I don't need to play my Wii U anymore. But it's been literally, 2013, about 6 years, right? 2013 to 21. Yeah, it's basically been, like, a little over 6 years, right? 6 years and 2 months, right? 6 years for a fucking port. Like, you got a lot of mileage out of that fucking console, okay? And, like, saying that, like, oh, I don't need to play my Wii U anymore. Why are you... Like, I still play my Wii U, okay? Because it's a great fucking platform, in spite of what you fucking parasites have to say about it. All right. This was actually the most exciting announcement for me, because I've been playing so much Tetris 99.
Mario Brothers. With 35 players?
Oh yeah, fuck yes.
Compete against other players near and far in this online battle game. Enemies you defeat will be sent to other players' courses, but this also works the other way around. Use the item roulette and these 4 strategies to try to outpace your opponents.
I love this.
Keep going until you're the last Mario standing.
This is so good. This looks so good, dude. I cannot wait to try this out. And, it's a Nintendo Switch Online exclusive, and this is going to really push for Nintendo Switch Online becoming popular. Like, it's games like this, right? Like, it's games like Tetris 99. It's the Nintendo Switch Online. Like, Nintendo Switch Online clearly is actually the best online service, despite all the backlash it gets. Just like how Super Mario 3D All-Stars is the best game this holiday season, despite being a port. Like, it's just... Oof. Yeah, I would have loved this if I was a kid, but unfortunately... I think I'm a bit too old for this. The RC thing, I don't know. Like, some people I think would be really into it, but I am not. Like, it looks neat as fuck. And I'm, it's interesting how, people always talk all this shit about VR, but this is going to be bigger than, this is actually going to be bigger than VR. This is AR. Like, Nintendo is like, people don't talk about this. Nintendo is focusing on augmenting reality rather than virtual reality. And I think it's, leading to them to be really, really successful, because that's technically what Pokemon Go was, right? And that's what this is, right? It's, augmented reality. It's an improvement over what they were doing with the 3DS, and that software, and, again, they're throwing Mario Kart on it. It has its own features. It has its own plastic toys. Yeah, but you get to design your own tracks. And so I could see this being big among some players. For me personally, I don't think I'm gonna bother. But look at that! Like, you can build your own tracks. Like, is it multiplayer? Can you own multiple cars? That would be awesome. Yep, you can. Mario and Luigi. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. Yeah, October 16th. They released the weird shit, like, in October. Like, probably for the holidays, they released Ring Fit Adventure around that time, too.
From now through March 2021,
Ring Fit Adventure is great, by the way. So this one minor direct got like 5 million views, a bunch of people hyped, and yeah, I gotta love how these people will like declare that Nintendo Switch has no games, and then like ignore everything that's coming out. Like, this is all shit that'll be out within the next 6 months. Like, I think 3D World is the latest game that's coming out. Like, people don't realize just how many games Switch has. They really don't. Like, I have like something like 30 games in my wish list right now, and I have no intention of buying anything because I'm trying to get through Dragon Quest 11.
A 35th anniversary themed Ninja Speedruns course is coming to the Super Mario Maker 2 game. The Super Smash Bros. Ultimate game will be having an in-game online
Yes, I know Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a game. You don't have to remind me.
Stages, and items. A Super Mario themed Splatfest.
Oh yeah, doing that. We are doing that. Team. Okay. Star or mushroom? That is a hard one. I'm gonna have to go with mushroom. Oh, and that's the side with Pearl too. I always side with Pearl.
Super Mario themed furniture will be added.
Really looking forward to that. I will be doing that Splatfest for sure. I will take time out of my day to do it. I will succeed.
Super Mario themed products.
RS Dreamer, Super Mario 64. Yep, they have clothing. Yep, they're going to. They're going to start. Yep, they're branching out into other things. Give it another. By the 50th anniversary, Nintendo's going to be one of the biggest companies in the world. I guarantee you.
35th anniversary website and our
Like this bullshit with the Wii U. Like it was a last gasp. It was a last ditch effort to try and ruin Nintendo before they really blew up. And, yeah, PlayStation wasn't able to stop them. Like Nintendo is a juggernaut in gaming, and they can't get rid of them.
Super Mario Brothers 3
okay.
and Super Mario Brothers: The Lost
Oh yeah,
Levels.
I played this on stream and failed. I barely managed to beat the first one.
Super Mario All-Stars will be available in the Super Nintendo Entertainment
Yep,
System.
for free if you're a subscriber.
Nintendo
So
Switch
yeah, check
Online
that out
collection
for sure.
Later today. How is everything
Look at
on
that.
will be our last announcement.
It's me, Mario.
They're really going for. Did they only announce? Oh yeah, the rest of the direct is just them going over all the classic games. So yeah, Super Mario 3D All Stars. So it's a port of 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy 1, which is great. This looks great. This will be a great way for people who don't own like all of these games to have them in one package. I'm sure plenty of people miss Sunshine. Haven't played Sunshine in a long time. I personally will probably pick it up just for the Sunshine re-release, just so I can stream it. We'll have to see. I mean, they might have like some hidden features they haven't talked about here. I don't think on Switch. That's gonna be really cool. I own like the Wii version of Super Mario All Stars too, so. Get Sunshine. Super Mario Sunshine. When I see a blue coin in this trailer, I'm gonna rage. Yeah, Sunshine is definitely one of the weaker Mario games, but I don't know, man. It does have its fans for good reason. Even the bad Mario games are still really memorable. Yeah, out of these three, I'd say 64 is by far my favorite. Galaxy, I think, is really overrated, honestly. I've always felt Galaxy was overrated. I don't understand why people call it one of the best Mario games ever made. I don't care for it that much. I like it just fine. It's just not great. I think I like 2 more, actually. 2, I think, is a lot more my speed. I think it's a lot more. It has a lot more interesting features and things like that. Maybe I mean, I do come back and play this game like regularly, so. So they're re-releasing Galaxy. Super Mario 3D All Stars. I'm surprised they didn't put. You can even kind of see the spot where like Super Mario Galaxy 2 should be. I mean, personally, like I would have thrown like 3D Land in there as well, or something like that. I mean, the original All Stars had 4 games. Like, why not just match it? But I mean, I guess All Stars just threw in the Lost Levels when it didn't really need to. I don't know, man. Again, overall, a pretty solid direct. People are very, very happy with it. They showed a lot of great stuff for the holiday season. Nintendo's looking very, very strong this year, and we haven't even had the general direct. So once the direct drops, which I think is going to be very, very soon, within the next couple of weeks for sure. Once the big direct drops, nobody's going to have a reason to own a PlayStation or an Xbox. Nobody wants a PlayStation or an Xbox. I mean, they don't really now, but they're really not going to want one with Nintendo coming out with their crazy shit all the time. Like, this one direct, I think, showed better games of more variety. In this one franchise, right? This one direct featuring one franchise from one company showed more interesting things than PlayStation has had in the entire decade, right? Like actual interesting video games. Like for a wide range of people, right? That's kind of the thing I'm noticing about Nintendo and noticing about me. I don't need to play everything that Nintendo puts out. Like, some of the things they make just aren't for me, and that's fine, right? Like, I'm not going to disparage kids who want to play with, like, Mario Kart RCs. That looks awesome, but that's just not my thing, right? That's not what I'm interested in. But I am interested in, like, Super Mario Bros. 35. That's going to be so good. Like, imagine me going up against Mike Matei, the completionist, like, all these people who I'm sure are going to be playing the shit out of this game. Like, it's going to be glorious. I'm going to really love this game. I'm still playing Tetris 99, man. So I am really, really hyped for this. And again, we're at the point now where Nintendo is becoming so successful that the haters, the detractors, the pretendos, they can't really keep up. Like, it's remarkable to me how the PC gamers have basically spent, like, the entire day, right, entire days of their lives trying to talk down about a universally positively received video game announcement, right? They're trying to talk shit about emulation and PC gaming. We need to say this right now. PC gamers, nobody wants to emulate Nintendo games. Get it through your skulls. Nobody cares, okay? People want to play these games on Nintendo hardware. They don't want to pirate. They don't want to set up the PC. They don't want to do all the shit you have to go through to make PC gaming what it is. They don't want to deal with, like, having different emulators for different features. Like, no, they just want to buy a video game on the console it's on and play that. And that's what we're seeing here. A complete rejection of the PC gaming master race. Like, nobody is going to play PC gaming, right? Nobody cares about PC. So anyway, let's look at the comments here. It's remarkable how big this like to dislike ratio is, considering how much the PC gamers have been bitching over the past day. Mario snaps fingers, wallet, I don't feel so good. Now, all we need is a Switch port of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. I would not mind that. Ooh. Let Mario say, so long, gay Bowser, when he throws Bowser in 64, you cowards. I can't believe Nintendo forgot Mario's 35th anniversary. Let's see. I love how people are trying to compare this to the Crash trilogy. Well, Mario is so much more influential and popular than Crash. Like, nobody would have bought Crash at, like, $60. What are you talking about? They had to release it at $40. Yeah, Mario's a way better character than fucking Crash, Spyro, Master Chief. Like, it's funny. Mario's been around longer and has outlasted all these newer franchises, right? Like Crash, there's not going to be another Crash after Crash 4. Like, I think that's going to be it for them. There's not going to be another Sly game. There's not going to be another a really well-received Halo. It's over, all right? It's over. And right now they're just trying to recapture the magic, and really because they have nothing else. They're desperately trying to get an audience. I think once the Halo audience sort of moves on and stops playing, like, and stops obsessing over Halo just because it's Halo, and I think that's already happened to a large extent. Like, well, once that happens, right? Well, like, who are these games for? They're just generic. They're not good. They're not interesting. Like, Halo didn't really need to continue, but they had to because it was the only cash cow they had. Like, when you compare that to what Nintendo is doing, right? Making new IPs all the times, the ARMS, Splatoons, Ever Oasises, Octopath Traveler, Ring Fit Adventure, like all the crazy shit they've made in the past couple of years. When you compare that to like Microsoft, Halo, and Gears of War, I guess, or Sony and like The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2, like. The difference in quality becomes very, very distinct. It becomes very, very clear. Like, any serious enthusiast should become keenly aware that other developers can't compete with Nintendo. Like, they can't. Like, and I do think it's starting to happen this generation. Like, the years of like people acting as if Nintendo was lesser or inferior to other consoles, it's over. Like it's basically over. Like Mario has sort of surpassed all of that. Like Mario is now in not just a video game icon, but I think one of the biggest icons in entertainment. Period. Right? Simply by the virtue of having the best games in the market for decades. Right? Like. And that's not going to change anytime soon, especially if this direct is any indication. Like shit, like they can get people hyped over ports. Super Mario 3D All Stars, because of the way they set it up, because of the way they announced it, that game, a fucking port, right, of games that are all over a decade old, right. The newest one is 13 years old, right. Super Mario Galaxy. Super Mario 3D All-Stars is going to outsell basically every major new PS5 game next generation, right? This holiday season, it's going to be one of the best-selling games. It's going to do phenomenally well for a port. And, of course, you're going to have, like, Call of Duty and stuff like that. But Call of Duty is old and tired, man. Like, when Call of Duty comes out, it comes out, people play it for a bit, and then they drop it once the next one comes out. Like, that's the Call of Duty cycle. Like, these days, today, if you're a kid who's getting into like Zelda, Pokemon, Mario, Kirby, like when you're a kid, right? When you're playing Fire Emblem Three Houses for the first time, and you discover the older games, when you discover Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn, Awakening, Fates, Echoes, like when you discover these older games, when you discover the Super Mario 64s, when you discover the Ocarina of Times, when you discover like the A Link to the Past, the Super Metroids, when you discover all that, like you really start to appreciate just how much better Nintendo is in the competition. And I think that's happening a lot more now. Like because of like Nintendo Switch Online, because of what they're doing, because of like their really high quality re-releases, because of their stellar new entries, like Nintendo has basically reached the point where nobody can seriously say that they've played every great game that Nintendo has ever put out. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't heard anyone seriously say that Nintendo hasn't, like, evolved in the past evolved since, like, the 90s in years. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't heard anyone say that because it's simply disprovably false. You know what I mean? Because they're the only video game company that are seriously trying anything new or interesting. And I think the public is starting to become aware of that. Oh, yes, hello everyone. I wasn't paying attention to the chat. I was honestly just about ready to sign off. It's been an hour. Let me look through this real quick. Emulation is inaccurate. True. Niptitsy. Holiday Switch game be probably. Yeah, the fact that we don't even know says a lot. I think that's going to be the subject of the next direct, honestly. Like, we still don't have a big holiday game. I'm thinking it might be something out of nowhere. Mario, I think, in and of itself is going to do gangbusters, right? But, again, that's not the only thing. I mean, that Mario Kart home circuit game, that's going to be big with kids, I think. Kids are going to love that. Switch does not have DRM. What are you talking about, you complete piece of shit?